Hi, I'm Corey, and I have too many tapes. Oh, Psalty the Singing Songbook, my old enemy, haunter of my dreams, architect of my nightmares, a sweaty, middle-aged man in Tobias Funke blue face paint, wedged inside an enormous felt hymnal of pure inanity. I'm passing through this series in reverse order. I've become unstuck in time. I've seen almost every form of Psalty now, but it started with him at a crossroads. It is 1992, and I am watching Psalty's Salvation celebration. He is at his most palatable and somehow most existentially alarming. There is no trace of a man in Psalty. He is, as he is illustrated, a walking, talking, singing songbook, his visage cast in the most affordable animatronics church money can buy. He is enormous. He is heavy. He lumbers. His eyes. It is 1986. I am watching Kids Praise 5, Psalty's camping adventure. Psalty exists in the margins between man and book. The makeup is light, possibly even airbrushed on. Bulging prosthetics distort his face to make him look even more like a cartoon. The costume seems delicate and easy to navigate. Ernie Rettino looks comfortable and nimble in this songbook of satin and foam. There's light in his eyes. Now it is 1984. I am older than I was at the start, even though it is far before the date of my birth. It has been over 2 years since I last thought of Psalty. My mind helped me. It cleared him from my thoughts, but another tape appears in my collection. We count down from 10 to 1. We've reached 4. It's Psalty's world, and we're all his Singsational Servants. This time on Too Many Tapes, I bring you Kids Praise 4, Singsational Servants, introducing Charity Churchmouse and the Churchmouse Choir. This Psalty is wild, rogue, a rare Psalty variant. Somehow aesthetically worse than his standard form, Kids Praise 4's Psalty is not a blast to look at. The songbook is denser here. It looks unwieldy and heavy. It's covered in velvet or felt and trimmed in shiny gold and silver. And Ernie's makeup here is awful too, a confusing mishmash of gold and blue that makes him look more like an alien cyborg than a heavenly songbook. He's ditched his clean-shaven look here. He's embracing his natural beard, and his hair has become something of a clown afro wig for an effect that makes him look like a rejected 80s Bob Ross Blue Man Group crossover project that was grown in a tube and escaped into the wild when they tried to kill it. We start in the outdoors. For real, too. They're actually on location here, and nobody called the cops. Psalty is gathering a group of children, Pied Piper style, with his new amazing songmobile. All jokes aside, it's a pretty fun prop. It's exciting to look at, it's colorful, and it's kid-friendly. They spent their money wisely on this thing. That being said, it's oddly psychedelic for such a pious production. The kids are too excited about it though, or maybe they're just smug about being able to identify musical instruments. Nobody is this chipper.
It's made of all kinds of musical instruments. Look at the back wheel. It's a big bass drum. Back here, the exhaust pipe is a clarinet. I can't believe it. The dashboard's a piano. Look at that tuba. Is that the trunk? I found a glockenspiel on the front.
This Frankenstein's monster of a vehicle is powered by praise and worship music, so it's already time for our first song. And it's jaunty, catchy, and kinda great.
We're singing praises, we're singing praises, we're singing praises unto J-E-S-U-S, our Savior.
I criticize choreography a lot. It's hard to get kids to get excited about these musical numbers for some reason, but here it works. The kids are into it. They're working overtime to sell this number. Maybe it's because this was filmed in California. They have better access to professional theater kids who actually want to do the work. Or maybe the 1984 crop of evangelical kids and tweens were made of more cheerful, heartier stuff. Regardless, this number is among the best that Psalty has ever put to video. Part of that may be because it's constantly on the move. Since these shows were designed to be replicated in churches across the nation, it makes sense that they all take place in a single location with simpler, more static choreography, but for some reason this is the one time the Rettinos realized that they have the freedom to actually stage a grand musical number, and it mostly works. They dance and praise their way through the park and the town, and then all of the movement comes to a screeching halt. You see, the rest of the show takes place in the attic of a local church. Exciting. Exciting location. Filled with drama and intrigue and visual interest, that attic. Also, Psalty seemingly made those kids carry the songmobile into the attic. That giant book is a cruel taskmaster. I'm too mean about the set though, at least it's more detailed and interesting than the outdoors set for Psalty 5. The kids seem jazzed too. They explore the space and one of them gets up and does an impression of a preacher to set up the overarching liturgical theme of the show. It's Mark 10:44, which says, "Whoever would be great among you will be the servant of all," which is kind of a rewording of most translations, which replaces servant with slave, which maybe they didn't want to get into a troubling discussion about the Bible's implicit and explicit approval of the slave trade. Instead, Psalty explains that greatness comes from serving God and other people before ourselves. The whole servant heart thing, bog standard stuff, kid-friendly.
You mean I could give him my voice?
Of course, I gave him my voice when I was just a booklet.
I don't love the implication that Psalty started as a small thing with fewer pages. How does that work, aging-wise? He starts as a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper, ages into a pamphlet, then a full-fledged book, and then what? The leather of his binding begins to crack, his spine loosens, his pages fall from him until he's reduced to an empty husk. The life cycle of a sentient songbook is one of painful transformation and tragedy. No wonder he turned to religion. His existence alone must feel like damnation. Psalty helps the kids by offering explanations of being a servant to others, though some of the kids have interesting ideas of what that might mean already.
Like when my brother's making his bed, I can hand him the pillows and say, "Praise the Lord"?
That's the idea.
Little girl, that is a one-way ticket to your brother chucking the pillows back at your head. Anyway, we get our second song and it's fine. Not as much energy as the opening number and a bit repetitive. The rhetorical point here seems to be this: if you want to be great in God's kingdom, you really need to do your chores, not be a jerk, and stay out of your parents' hair. I don't even have kids, but I'll give that an amen. Unfortunately, while the choreo giveth, the choreo also taketh away. They're too restrained in this set. The energy just isn't there. Get these kids outside. Give them room to go wild. No kid wants to do take 11 of the second of 8 dance numbers, sweating it out under the hot stage lights. And the next number isn't much of an improvement, even if the subject matter is, out of context, hilariously lewd. It's not novel to point out that Christian praise and worship songs can sometimes take romantic concepts and recontextualize them into religious ones, but Take All of Me is pushing the boundaries to a breaking point.
Take all of me, take all of me. In a world that's lost, help me count the cost. Take all of me.
After a few alarming solos and a group move to the center of the room that feels like someone trying to interpret a piece of Bob Fosse choreography they saw in a dream once, the true horrors can begin. Enter Charity Churchmouse. The kids are instantly awful to her, and here's the secret: they're right.
Hello? How do you do?
Excuse me, but if you're selling something, we don't live here.
From afar, Charity looks bad, but in close-up, it's so much worse.
No, I'm not selling anything. My name is Charity. Charity Churchmouse.
She's the total package of physical revulsion. The oversized, smooth ears, the protruding facial prosthesis that doesn't perfectly cover her top teeth, so when the camera catches her in profile, it looks like she's some kind of malformed shark. Her bright red wig and poodle skirt, her awful screeching voice. She looks bad, sounds worse, and is annoying to boot. I hate her. And this tape is all about Charity's journey. The good times are over, kids. You've had your cake. Now it's time for the broccoli. Charity is broken into the church to spend the night as she travels to Hollywood to try to be a gospel singing star. The kids, rightly, bristle at this idea. She's a shady character. Psalty, though, is quick to offer a charity to Charity and lets her spend the night. She asks to try the songmobile to finish her song, but it turns into a video toaster feedback loop nightmare. She's obviously not praising the Lord with all her heart. That probably won't come up again. Anyway, now it's time for Charity's big annoying musical number. Turns out she didn't need to finish her song after all, she already has one. She opens her mouth to show her 2 rows of shark teeth, and what comes out is a horrifying Betty Boop gospel abomination that has to be heard to be believed.
Draw me nearer, Holy Spirit. Fill me up.
There's some old-fashioned gospel charm to the material, but the delivery is so annoying, and the choreography devolves into the world's laziest kickline. Did you know that you can build an effective mousetrap by putting a dollop of peanut butter on a toilet paper tube, or a can suspended through a skewer like a wheel attached to a 5-gallon bucket? The mouse jumps onto the tube thinking it's going to have a fun snack and then plummets into the bucket where it can't escape, and you can take it on a nice drive to a field far away from your house and release it there so it can go on its way to Hollywood and live its musical dreams. Psalty is impressed by Charity's raw talent, but when he assumes that Charity shares his same servant heart mindset, all hell breaks loose. Because Charity, you see, doesn't want to be anybody's servant.
Did you say servant? To be a star, you have to be a servant? That's ridiculous.
No, it isn't.
The kids hammer home the importance of being a servant, a lesson they learned not 10 minutes ago, but are now 100% on board with, and the tween with the pigtails gets a solo that is positively unhinged.
Jesus is beautiful, and Jesus makes beautiful things of my life.
Where is she looking? Why is her face like that? Who told her to do that? Why does she have a little baby voice? What is happening here? This awful solo transitions into a group sit and sway, which is a classic way to have a big group of kids do a dance without having to memorize any moves. The song ends and the Pigtail Girl and Psalty do the Kubrick stare at the camera as they hold a daisy that we slowly push into. This has not convinced Charity. And why should it have? She's a train wreck of a human mouse, sorry.
All this stuff about being a servant is a little bit too much for me. I'm going to be a star and have servants. Besides, what else would God have me do with my great talent but be a star? It's so obvious.
If your entire reason to become famous is to have servants to boss around, you A, should probably never be famous, and B, are probably the kind of person that's primed to find fame even if you shouldn't have it. So kind of a catch-22 there. But the kids in Psalty have so many alternatives to fame, and they all sound really lame, honestly. But she perks up at the possibility of leading the Churchmouse Choir.
The Churchmouse Choir? How could I forget about them? They're always trying to turn my pages when I'm not looking.
What? There's so much tossed-off Psalty lore in this one, and it's all deeply distressing. Psalty starts up a synth organ ditty that follows the tune of Ode to Joy, and suddenly we've cut to a low-angle handheld reverse shot of lurking, satin-covered mice children, who screech out the lyrics in a shrieky, atonal cry that pierces your eardrums like a poorly trained Claire's employee. What in the Kmart Alvin and the Chipmunks is this? Psalty, though, sensing the tension in the room, goes off. Psalty, my dude, you have the funk in your soul. Make that song will be a whale, man. But get those mice out of here first. They're so bad, so lazy, so poorly conceived. The same white outlined eyes and awful prosthesis as Charity, but with 1/8 of the care taken into its application since they're never seen all that close up.
I'm provolone. I'm mozzarella. And I'm Limburger. We're the cheeses for Jesus.
The cheeses for Jesus. 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 What I do is pointless. Nothing I bring into the world will ever be as weird or as silly or as evocative as this furry gumdrop guild, this lactose lollipop league. I mean, come on, cheeses for I quit.
Since you're spending the night, we thought you might get hungry. So, on behalf of the Churchmouse Choir, we'd like to present you with a jar of our cheerfully challenging cherry chive chocolate cheese chutney. If you find it a little chewy, you do have other choices. Just check stick with us later and we'd be happy to change it, Charity. And there's no charge.
Thanks. I mean, thanks. Thank you all very much.
If the whole humane bucket thing sounds too complicated, there are lots of cats at shelters that need a good home and some sport that can keep your home, office, or church attic mouse-free. The choir gets another number about a recipe for praise that uses an extended cooking metaphor that is about as threadbare as the plot of this musical.
First you take a cup of bake and stir it all around. Add some joy and laughter till it makes a bubbly sound. Mix in some agape love till it begins to ring. Pour into a willing heart and serve it to the king.
Charity praises the mice for their talent but refuses to lead them. Her eyes are set on a larger prize, superstardom. As Psalty and the gang head outside to play, Charity has another video toaster freakout and berates one of the little Jeezy Cheesies. Psalty and Charity have a heart-to-heart about her behavior that stresses Charity out so badly that she needs to take a nap. A reaction I find almost eerily relatable. She passes out on the songmobile, and in another eerily relatable moment, she has the same nightmare I've had every night since, about January 2020. She's trapped in a musical number with Risky Rat.
Well, hello, Charity. Yes, hello indeed. I've heard about you, Charity Churchmouse. Yes, indeed.
The Rettinos have a very specific axe to grind with the secular media industry. Something happened there when they were doing Carpenters-esque praise music in the 70s. I'm sure of it. The whole conceit of the song is that the label is mouse trap, not mouse tail. It's a con-trap, not a contract, and she'll be a slave, not a star. It ends up confusing because the guy playing Risky Rat can't really enunciate clearly, and a lot of it ends up sounding the same, especially the whole contract thing.
We'd like to offer you a lifetime contract.
Did you say contract?
No, my dear contract, read my lips.
But as she's about to sign her life away, the Jeezy Cheesies rise out of the mist as a little musical note chorus to talk her out of it.
No, don't do it, Charity.
Being the idiot she is, though, she signs on the dotted line and is placed in a Tweety Bird cage, trapped for eternity to make gospel music and not get paid enough, I guess. And much like how I wake up from dreams, she's terrified, sweaty, and flailing her arms in her songmobile bed as the video toaster feedback loop effect fades us back to reality. Apparently this dream has totally changed her life. She finally understands the point of everyone's concerns, but in a clear example of not having your liturgical and rhetorical strategies aligned, they've accidentally tied up Charity's fear of being a slave into her desire to be a servant. And it doesn't do a great job of giving daylight between the two states, especially considering the original translation of that verse we talked about earlier. This is deeper into biblical discussion than I normally get. I try to stay out of it, I swear, I'm not qualified. The change of heart is complete, though. Charity apologizes to the Jeezy Cheesy and is finally able to complete her song on the songmobile. It's not gonna rise to the top of the charts. It's so low energy and limp, and it doesn't help that it starts with these weird zoom-ins on Charity and Psalty that make you stare at their awful makeup.
Make me a servant, humble and meek. Lord, let me lift up those who are weak. And
Hey, snap out of it. Stop looking at me, book! The next number is a little better.
now I'm singing his song. Ooh, I'm singing his song. Jesus put the song in my heart. He turned my life around. He gave me a treasure, the heart of a servant.
And that's the thing about the Rettinos. There's talent there. They can write good music. They have a handle on songwriting and melody that's well above average in this incredibly blasted and terrible subgenre of entertainment. What they also have, unfortunately, is the consistent habit of pairing that above-average songwriting with visuals and storytelling that elicit full-body Lynchian panic attacks. The song ends, Charity asks to stay and become the leader of the Churchmouse Choir, and Psalty breaks the fourth wall and gives us an outro that forces us to stare at how that blue beard dye is starting to rub off on the underside of Ernie's weird, glittery Elizabethan collar.
If we listen to the Lord and follow his example, then we'll be servants of all, bright, shining stars.
Too much f***ing shit on me, I can't breathe.
Is that Was that Ernie's real hair? Did he have a white guy fro in the early 80s? Speaking of Ernie, it's his time to shine, or in the case of the production, shimmer with all the sequins and lens flares, as he leads the final song, which is a reprise of Charity's Make Me a Servant. Everybody joins in as we end on a big static group shot of the whole cast. The lights go out, we freeze frame as the top row of children stretch their arms out to, I want to say, Jesus, and the credits roll. It is finished. It is 2023, and the Psalty trilogy ends where it began. There are more Psalty tapes out there, but they are not the same. They lack ambition, either loosely tied together praise videos for toddlers, or recordings of larger stage shows that feel like victory laps. I am tired of Psalty, these Rettinos. I am tired of being caught in the tangle of their lives. One day I may return, but for now, I am closing the songbook. Thank you all for watching Too Many Tapes. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon to get updates for when I upload videos. Did you grow up watching Psalty? Were you ever in one of these videos or perform one of these shows at your church? Are you okay? Let me know in the comments. If you want to help out a small YouTube channel, please consider donating $1 or more a month to my Patreon. For $2 or more a month, you get early access to my videos, as well as my genuine, eternal gratitude for helping me keep this channel going. If you donate $50 or more a month, like Cammy, you are the greatest in my kingdom, and you get a movie recommendation. For a movie about someone trying to make it in the music business, it's gotta be Phantom of the Paradise. Another stylized, nightmarish tale of the exploitations of the entertainment industry. Fun fact, on any given day, I'd probably tell you this is my favorite movie. If you donate $20 or more a month, you're NATO Kitsch, your name is in the credits all huge, and you're trapped with me here in the Risky Rat liminal space nightmare. For $10 or more a month, you're simply Singsational, and your names get to be pretty big in the credits too. And for $5 a month, you're my Jeezy Cheesies, and you get early access to my videos. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you next time on Too Many Tapes. No, don't do it, Charity.